It's the Believe in Texans podcast presented by FanDuel. I'm here with Cecil Shorts, who is sitting in either a gymnasium or a sanitarium based on the padded wall behind him. Are you, in fact, in a sanitarium right now?
I am in a gymnasium, so you got it right.
All right, good. You can use those padded walls to your advantage after this if you get too worked up.
Yes.
I've got all this stupid drywall. It's not nearly as forgiving. Texans drop one to the Jaguars, 17-10, and man, this is frustrating, Cecil. We'll get to a little bit of CJ Stroud specifically here in a minute, but your overall takeaway on that game yesterday, and an offense that, as of right this moment, is the worst scoring offense in the NFL.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's true. Wow. They made it.
Wow.
Yeah. They're only fourth. They're only fourth lowest in terms of total yardage, but lowest in terms of scoring.
I think I heard a stat you said this morning on Sports Radio 610. It's only 117 people that have made teams that made the playoffs in the last century after going 0-3.
Yeah, and it was the 2018 Texans. We'll get to the differences between this team and that team later. Don't worry, I got it penciled in. By the way, FanDuel had the Texans as a 1.5-point underdog. The nerve they had of making them a 1.5-point underdog. So obviously they did not cover that.
It's frustrating to watch. I'm not sure what's going on, and I'm starting to believe what I see. Meaning, is CJ just, is he not the superstar we thought he was? Is he just okay, guy? Is he just an average quarterback? You know what I mean? Is he just what we see? Because I'm not gonna lie to you, since his rookie year, it's been kind of up and down, right? So is that he's been consistently up and down? So is that him consistently, right? I'm starting to wonder if that's the case. I'm starting to yesterday I noticed a lot of play action, especially early on in the game. And I'm like, why don't you run the ball first?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna play this clip from CJ because he was asked about what they did well on the offense, and the running game. There's an interesting dynamic here. There's a lot to carve up from this next 40 seconds of CJ. Here's CJ when asked about what they did well in the game.
I thought we ran the ball well. I thought we somewhat threw it well. It's always better than what you think, but when you lose, of course, it's not good enough. So, there's the sun will rise up tomorrow, and we'll be able to go back to work. So that's a positive, and you got to just keep going forward. Everybody's gonna talk crazy like they've been doing, and have these analyses, and rightfully so. That's NFL. You give them an inch, they'll take a mile. So we got to be able to stay together, stick together, stay as a family, stay as a brotherhood, and try to get these things fixed. Because it's a long season. It's, sucks you start 0-3, but it can be flipped. So.
All right, Cecil's got his hand raised.
Who's talking crazy? We're talking about what we see.
Exactly. You're the worst scoring offense in the league. I wish you would give me inches, yards, whatever, a hectare. I don't know. Just any kind of cover, any kind of ground, please. CJ has been treated with kid gloves. I think nationally, locally.
Yes.
And this is what I sent you 3 clips, and the lack of explosive plays is something that people are noticing. And D'Amico actually kind of got a little bit testy about it in the press conference. But they are seeing a lot of cover 2. So, yeah, they got to run the ball. I think that they have run the ball at least effectively versus cover 2, more effectively than last year. Maybe run it more. But I sent you 3 plays. One was the misfire to Nico early on that over route. One was his interception, his first interception. And another was when he threw it to Christian Kirk downfield and the pass got broken up. And I felt like either through not being on the same page with the receiver or just through CJ not setting his feet, I thought those were misfires on all 3 of those. Like, they had their opportunities downfield.
All 3 were on CJ. All 3 were on CJ, except for so the crossing route you sent me, I think it was play action. It was a crossing route over to the Jaguar sideline. Did get a chance to set his feet, but you still got to make that throw. Like, you missed him by 2 yards, and he was like that separation he had, it was enough for him to catch it and maybe get upfield a little bit more. That's a huge play. The interception, I thought it was a few things. The first interception. One, I think the route yardage of Christian Kirk was too shallow.
Yeah, the spacing there, right?
The spacing was not good. It seemed like it was like I guess it was a flood concept or a smash concept with a 5-yard out route and then a corner route. But the corner route, you want to take it high. Always take it to the high pylon and let the quarterback bring you down. He kept it real sharp to the sideline, and the cornerback made a great play. He came off. It's a 5-yard out. He came off of that, looked at CJ, and the ball was right there in his hands. That's something that, from a receiver standpoint, you got to get your depth, but also from a quarterback standpoint, you can't make that mistake and put it on the line like that with the spacing how it is.
Yeah, the Archuleta was giving the defense, the corner, credit for baiting him, and I went back and I watched, and it looked like now he was playing his zone, and when CJ committed to throwing where he was throwing, he came back, and if he had some loft underneath it, that wouldn't have been a pick. Maybe he could have tipped it or something, but.
Yeah. Now, the other one, there was one you sent where it was a seam route down the field, a Christian Kirk, right?
Yeah.
To me, that was a tough throw. You had the safety there, Jordan Lewis, who had a heck of a game yesterday, cornerback or nickelback for the Jaguars. He made a good play on the ball, almost intercepted it. But I think he should have went to one of the outside receivers.
That's what I thought, because I think it was Jaden Higgins at the bottom who was just on a go. And the same time CJ made the decision to go to Noel with that safety over the top, Higgins was even or past his cornerback. Yes. And that's where I we've been saying, why doesn't Caley trust the rookie wide receivers? And I wonder if part of it is that CJ doesn't trust the wide receivers.
Because even if CJ put more umph on that seam ball to Kirk, that could be picked off, or a bang play, tipped in the air, anything can happen.
Kirk could have gotten murdered. Yeah.
Murdered. Right? You put it to the outside, and like you said, if he was even, when the ball's in the air, most likely the receiver, it's like old saying, if he's even, he's leaving. When the ball's in the air, he can track it down and go get it. Now, there was one more he threw to Kirk in the fourth quarter on the left side of the field. It was a slot fade, and he missed him. He was open. It probably would have been a walk-in touchdown. He missed him. Those are 4 plays that CJ missed that, honestly, what I'm seeing is your best players aren't making plays. Now, Nico went, I think, 11 targets, 8 catches, 100-some yards. He played well overall, but CJ has to make those throws. Like you said, we can't babysit CJ no more. We can't, he needs to be held accountable for missing throws, for him not playing well, for him, the offense not doing what it's supposed to be doing. That's just what it is.
We had, or at least I had, you couldn't make the interview, but Bucky Brooks last week, and Bucky Brooks had this to say. He does the sideline reporting for the Jaguars about trying to incorporate this Josh McDaniels, Tom Brady, Bill O'Brien offense, as we've seen the struggles before. It was interesting. He talked about how difficult it can be for a quarterback.
That offense is a hard one. We've seen that offense, and people try to use that offense outside of New England. Yeah. And it's been kind of clunky in other places. It's a high IQ offense. It requires all 11 to be on the same page because, as you talk about the choice routes and those things, everyone has to see the same thing. And that is a time on task deal to be able to get out.
So that was the interesting part to me. There's the time on task part. And because we know how difficult it can be with all those choice routes, option routes, we've talked about it. And that's where I'm trying to, without just going full pitchforks to CJ's house, that like how much of that right now could be that, or how much of that just flat out can't be an excuse for missing those throws.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm sick of the missed throws.
Yeah.
Because they're not running a ton of option routes. They're not running a ton of choice routes right now. They're just not. These are down the field routes that we saw on Sunday, and he's just missing. Those 4 routes we just talked about, he just missed. That's on him. Now, I would say this. I don't think the offensive line – now, Josh Hines Island is very good.
Yeah.
Walker, Eric Armstead, they were getting after it yesterday, right? What I didn't understand was why was Ursery so one-on-one? Like, why was he matched up one-on-one with anybody all day yesterday? For a lot of yesterday, not all day, but for a lot of yesterday, he was matched up one-on-one with Hines Allen or whoever's on that side. I'm like, get a chip, get an extra tight end there, help him out, and that will maybe ease CJ a little bit. But CJ still got to make those throws.
He's got to make those throws, and the being unsettled and sometimes just he's not stepping into his throws when he does have time. He's not squaring up to his target. There's just him sifting backwards at times that you always start to worry about, okay, the cumulative trauma of going through last year and whether he can or cannot trust protection again. There's just something that's just not sitting right. And we'll get to Caley and some of the people perhaps that we're also losing trust in, because it's hard. It's hard to hire people. We know this. I'm miserable at it. This is why I'm an employee and not an employer. I've sat around trying to sift through resumes, trying to wait for the right candidates to apply. The future of hiring looks brighter. I don't know if they can do this in football, but in your job place, because ZipRecruiter's latest tools and features help you speed up finding the right people for your roles so you can save valuable time. With ZipRecruiter's new advances, you can easily find and connect with qualified candidates in just minutes. See a candidate you're really interested in, you can unlock their contact info instantly. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/audio and you can try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/audio. It's ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. So when we get to Caserio, or excuse me, Kaylee, we'll get to Caserio. Kaylee, and helping or not helping out Ursary, this is where I'm torn too, because I don't want to make excuses, but I think there's explanations. You right now, you're down Cade Stover, you're down Brevin Jordan, you're down Joe Mixon. You just got Christian Kirk back. And on some of those plays, like there was a sack that CJ took in the third quarter where they had a half slide to the left. So if it was a 4-man rush, there would have been 3 guys to handle the defensive end and the defensive tackle. But like Dalton Schultz is standing there, just flexed off the end a little bit. So Dalton Schultz theoretically could have chip blocked Josh Hines-Allen. I don't know if he was called to or didn't, or if they just didn't have him do it. But that's like one play where, because they ended up having 3 guys to that side, the center and the guard screw up the game to the inside. So that's a bust on those guys. But then also Ariante Ursary doesn't have the help from Dalton Schultz. And I guess the question is just, like, what do you sacrifice in that moment? It was 3rd and long. It was 3rd and 12. It wasn't like 3rd and 4 or something. There's a 3-man combo, including Dalton Schultz. You want to get him out and put the stress on the defense and just hope that they can make the decision quickly? Or do you, to give Ariante Ursary a little extra help? It just felt like a situation where you're damned if you do and damned if you don't, because you already got guys getting beat up the middle. Eric Armstead, you got Ariante Ursary getting beat really quickly. So I guess like that balance of like, how do you find that balance when you just can't trust your offensive line?
That's tough. I'll say this. I think the defensive line of Jacksonville on paper, and I think last year's struggles, I forgot how good potentially they could be. And then yesterday watching, I'm like, oh my gosh, these guys are just very, very disruptive. They had some really big names, former first-round picks, first-round guys. But I'd rather protect my number 7, protect the quarterback than anything else. I'd rather protect first and then figure everything else out. That's just me personally. From inside out. Because outside, as you know, we can get them to rush up the field, and there's ways you can get around it, moving in the pocket. But I'd rather protect the inside first, and then outside next.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So that brings us to the guys that we're losing faith in. And if we're talking about the offensive line, there's Caserio and his offseason strategy. There's Nick Caserio. We've already talked about CJ, and then I think we'll have to address D'Amico too. But if we look at Caserio and his offseason strategy, this is where I feel guilty, because I was drinking the Kool-Aid. You know that I was feeding the Kool-Aid to you about how you can have 5 average offensive linemen, and as long as they're functioning properly, then you can have a feasible offensive line if they're functioning properly. But it goes back to Caserio and his offseason approach of not being aggressive in free agency. But you did give Cam Robinson a really nice 1-year deal. He's not out there. You traded up for a rookie that you feel good about, so he's out there. He's out there starting. Blake Fisher, the guy that you drafted in the 2nd round last year, wasn't even active on game day. You're running an open audition at left guard between Juice Scruggs and Laken Tomlinson. This is where, like, I drank the Kool-Aid because I do believe in the theory, but you got to execute the theory properly. And right now, it's 3 games in, and I feel like we're stuck in the exact same place we were last year with the offensive line, except without Laramie Tunsil.
It's the exact same place. You are not very good on the offensive line at all. Yeah. And you've missed on every single draft pick. You've missed on free agency. You had a multitude of opportunities that you just missed on. And I don't even know what to say with that. Like, he literally missed. And I drank the Kool-Aid too. You gave it to me. I was drinking it. Hey, everything's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. It's going to be this. Now I'm like, oh my gosh.
You should like checking your warranty on the Kool-Aid.
Exact same thing.
And it says,
saw the year before.
It's not Kool-Aid. It's food coloring. That's what it was. It ended up being food coloring. I'm drinking damn red water. Just no electrolytes or nothing in it either. Just empty, not even empty calories, no calories whatsoever. I just,
Blake Fisher. Why is like that's concerning.
And then that's again too, where if you're looking at if you have Cole Popovich, because that's the other thing. I was a Kool-Aid peddler on the Cole Popovich stuff, because people had the understandable question: if you're going to take the assistant offensive line coach who was in the room last year when the offensive line was struggling, what exactly did he show? Last year, well, the offensive line was bad, that he deserved to be the offensive line coach this year. And you're talking about guys like Blake Fisher or Juice Scruggs. Ariante Ursary, I'm still optimistic about. I think he's got a lot of potential. Man, he's been really accountable after these last few games. I'm starting to feel bad for him, just sitting there and answering the questions. But I mean, they can take time to develop. That can't be your plan, that a second-round offensive tackle is going to hem up all the issues at left tackle, or in the run game. I think he can be better than Laramie Tunsil sooner than later. But I'm just almost like just sitting here saying, all right, hey, so far I was wrong. Anybody who disagreed with me was right. It's a bitter place for me to be. I don't admit I'm wrong, very willingly. But so far I was dead wrong on that.
So I'm with you there, but how much is the play calling right now? Because when you look at the run game yesterday, I think you ran for like 19 under 20 rushes for about 80-ish yards.
87 yards, 19 carries for 87 yards.
87 yards. How much did that a carry? 4 point something?
There was Chubb had 4.2 yards per carry, and Woody Marks had 4.5 yards per carry.
So you're running the ball at a decent clip.
Better than last year, at least.
Better than last year. Why aren't you running it more? Because it was a close game throughout the time.
Right.
You're not out of it. There was no point of the game that you were ever out of it. Mm-hmm. It's just, to me, is the play calling where it should be. Should you focus more on the running game? Should you focus more on what those five guys can do decently well? If they're better at the running game, okay, let's do that, and then open up with play action, right? Then try to get the ball out quickly. This seems a little backwards right now.
Tell me if this sounds right to you. Steve Dent, who's one of my relationships on X, he's a former college coach, and he's retired, so now he just sits around watching all 22. He's concerned about the fact that he says there's just too many full field reads right now, and that in terms of just getting stuff going and having an easier option of just a half field read back to a check down. And especially when we start talking about Woody Marks, man, every time Woody Marks touches the ball, every time CJ actually throws him the ball accurately, he's showing up. And to get the run game going and the play action involved off of that, Woody Marks still had in the low 20s in terms of total snaps yesterday. I'm a big fan of getting the guys who are more threatening athletes out on the field as soon as possible.
I love the idea of cutting it down to a half field, because my issue with CJ right now is he's holding the ball way too long.
Yeah,
he looks like he's overthinking. So if he's had to read half the field, 1, 2, not there, let me throw it down to Woody or throw it down to Chubb. Guess what? The ball's out a lot quicker. That means the rush can't get to him as quick, right? And for him, if he gets in the rhythm, get some confidence going, then maybe you can go full field, or maybe you just stick with it. But I'm with you. Woody Marks needs the ball more, needs to play more, get him going. Oh, let me ask you this. Have you heard anything about Joe Mixon?
No, nobody knows where he is. The last we heard of Joe Mixon was D'Amico saying, we hope he's doing well, which I feel like D'Amico might be as in the dark as I am about when and where Joe Mixon might return, because you're exactly right. He's almost become like the kid we don't talk about, the kid that got sent off because he got in trouble or something, and you're just like, don't bring him up at the dinner table. It makes dad grumpy. I don't know. So at this point, I have no reason to believe that he's going to show up the week of the Ravens game or anything, which would be a perfect time for him to show up. I don't, and we still, as far as I don't know how he got injured in the first place. So it's a vast mystery right now. I don't know.
He's not on the sideline.
Yeah.
They don't bring him up unless somebody in the media asks about him. It's just so many. I feel like it's some secret stuff going on, and I don't anticipate him coming back anytime soon. Like we haven't heard nothing.
No,
so
it's
just weird. So for me, it's like, if we haven't heard anything from Joe, okay, cool. Nick Chubb is showing us some good things, but let's get Woody going. Like, let's really get him the ball and get him going and see what they can do.
Let me give you a quick story in 30 seconds. Before, in college, we had this awesome nose tackle named Mahingus Silver. He was a big old dude, like a 330-pound, just big Native American guy with hair flowing out of his helmet, played bare-handed like Vita Vea and everything. And he got injured once, and for whatever reason, he was having a hard time dealing with it, and he just disappeared. And it turned into like I was tasked with going to try to find out where Mahingus Silver was. Like I was calling his family, showing up at his place at odd hours of the evening and everything. And that's how I feel about Joe Mixon right now. It was like he's my Mahingus Silver. I might have to take it upon myself to go find out where he is and if and when he's going to return. It feels like he used Delete Me. Delete Me makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online. At a time when surveillance data breaches are common enough to make everybody vulnerable, there's these data brokers who make a profit off of your data. Your data is a commodity. We didn't have any kind of online worries back when Mahingus was missing. But anyone on the web can buy your private details. That can lead to identity theft, phishing attempts, and harassment. But now you can protect your privacy with Delete Me. New York Times Wirecutter is named Delete Me their top pick for data removal service. Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. Now, at a special discount for our listeners and viewers, get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to join deleteme.com/pro and use the promo code PRO at checkout. The only way to get 20% is to go to join deleteme.com/pro and enter code PRO at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/pro. The code is PRO. Texans are a 7.5 point favorite over the Titans, which I know that's a bit of a shocker when people realize, wait a second, there's a team out there that's playing more poorly than the Texans. Yeah. The offense, especially, and Cam Ward's looking a lot like a rookie playing for the Titans, and it's not going well over there for them. I guess of all of these things that are going wrong with the Texans right now, what looks like the most immediately correctable thing? And I guess for CJ himself, is there anything CJ can do? If you were a wide receiver playing and CJ was your friend and teammate, is there anything you've seen where you might be able to go up to him and say, like, hey, CJ, maybe consider looking at it this way?
Yeah, stop wearing different hats. Like, stop wearing hats. Like, just completely get rid of the hats.
This matters because you and I both.
So serious. I'm so serious right now.
No, yeah,
that's the very first thing I would say.
For those of you who didn't see it, he's wearing a Yankees cap in the press conference. There's a lot of a mini controversy over him wearing a Mariners cap back during training camp. And you and I both, trying not to be grumpy old men, say, look, I don't question these kids' fashion choices. It goes with the outfit or whatever. But as soon as he did it, CJ realized that it angered a certain portion of the fan base. And they get it. Like, I get it. Like, people are passionate about it. Like, the fact that people are as passionate about both the Astros and the Texans paid our salaries as player. It still pays my salary as a sports radio host. And you're the franchise quarterback. Why, to what end are you inviting more anger and criticism and scrutiny or any kind of controversy at all while the team is playing like this? I don't get it.
I'm so confused. I would be confused if the Texans were 3-0. Because you, as a franchise, you represent not only the team, but the city. Like, you're representing the entire city, whether you like it or not. And you wearing, that shows no awareness. It shows you don't care about the fan base in certain areas. Or it just shows your lack of, in my opinion. And for me, the very first thing to answer your question, what I would say is please take the hat off. Do not wear anything on your head unless it's something to do with Houston. Because now what you're doing, the first time you did it, you saw the uproar that came with it.
Yeah.
How you going to do it again? And it's a team that people definitely hate.
Yeah.
I know you're causing more of an uproar on top of not playing good. So now you're starting to create a lane where people are not going to like you that much.
Have that awareness to understand. It wasn't just a couple of different franchises. It was the Mariners and it was the Yankees. And meanwhile, CJ had no way of knowing that the Astros were going to lose that game again yesterday. I mean, probably could have had a pretty good idea. But you're like, it's in. So you don't wear a Mariners cap and you choose a Yankees cap. If it was a Padres cap or a Rockies or something, anybody from the NL that's not the Phillies what are you doing? It doesn't. I don't get it.
Dodgers are coming next. I heard Dodgers are coming next.
Yeah, right. I
don't know.
And then it makes it even worse too, because he'll say, well, I don't, it's not like I'm a fan of those teams or anything. I just like the way it works with my outfit, I suppose. I don't like him caring that much about his outfit to begin with, because that's a choice. That's a road game. You didn't just pick that up that morning or whatever. And B, if it doesn't mean anything to you, then why on earth? Yeah, exactly. I have to start to wonder these things that are kind of hot takey type of things, but is this evidence of him trying to distance himself from the fan base? Is this a David Mulligetta thing? It feels like when Garrett Cole wore his agent's cap after the World Series loss. I mean, it's my mind has to go there. I don't think that's what it is. I do think it is him just being tone deaf, though, about where he is in what his position is and how his actions affect people.
Yeah, I think he's tone deaf, but I'm going to pay a little more attention as time goes. If he wears another hat, he's up to something. He's either completely
like honestly, think about it yesterday. Okay, maybe he wore it on the way into the stadium and he wasn't thinking it would be a big deal or something. But then you go and have that game and you're 0-3, and then you walk into the press conference with a Yankees cap on that immediately has thousands of Texans fans watching on YouTube. These kids, it's turned me into a grumpy old man. But you know what? He's one young man. I don't think you don't see other young men doing that. Like you don't see other young athletes. So I can't lump them into, it's a Gen Z or something. Like, no, by and large, other franchise quarterbacks his same age are not doing that same thing.
They are not doing it. If they even have a hat on, it's something that's representing the city.
Right.
That's just what it is. So he got to get that together. He has to get that together. But hey, on the bright side, the defense didn't look that bad. I mean,
you got a pick finally. We need more of that. We need these turnovers. Look at that. Look, the touchdown was scored, man. That was classic, quick change. All right. Get back out on the field. You catch the defense, maybe just not quite dialed in. You've set up the deep ball all day long by being horrible at the deep ball. So that was the aging Ben Roethlisberger strategy. It's like once every 3 games, he'd hit a deep ball because nobody respected his deep ball. There we go.
I'm not gonna lie. I was a little mad at that deep ball because I'm like, everybody's excited, and I was excited, but I'm like, it was a miscue. It wasn't like we earned it. It wasn't like earned it. You know what I mean? Whatever.
All right. We'll be back at it on Wednesday. We'll be ready to go. All right, thanks to FanDuel for sponsoring. Please, everybody, like, subscribe on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star review. And thanks again to FanDuel.